Background: we've been together for several years, not casual, fully committed relationship. My boyfriend makes double what I do and has far more family resources. His income is far from the only source he has. I have worked since 15 and been financially independent since I was 20 because I had to be. I do fine now. My name is a joke from the movie Bridesmaids, but I still freak out about money all the time because historically, I always had to. We started discussing a trip together. He sends me some flight details later that are just for him, first class as he usually does. So I ask what that means, and he says I can pay for whatever I want, economy or first class. I got upset and cited the income differential. He told me I do fine. I looked at prices and said I'm not paying that for first class. He said he was surprised by the expectation that he would pay for me to be first class. I'm not sure if I expected he would pay so much as I just expected a conversation, and not the you can do what you want attitude. In his defense, we are both very individualistic. We don't live together, we both usually pay for our own stuff, etc. He paid for a trip a few months ago, which was not inexpensive. In my defense, I thought the point of the trip was to go together, so was surprised by the lack of caring or coordination about the flight tickets. I feel like if we're going together, if he wants to be in first class, he should be willing to pay to have me with him. The income/resources differential seems to be a growing challenge for us, as he has a different lifestyle than I do because of it. But we don't want to get married or anything, in part because I don't want to deal with the problems that come with his money, nor do I necessarily want his lifestyle. I just don't know how to navigate it when we are trying to do things together. Edited to add a few details. He won't sit in economy to sit with me, that's why it's not part of the discussion. It's not a situationship or bang buddies. It's just not what most people assume a relationship looks like. That said, the people pointing out that there are clear issues are right. He has paid for the last 2 trips we went on and we clearly discussed the plans in advance. That's why the automatic move to just get his own ticket surprised me. We have a free place to stay, so it's not like I'm expecting him to pay for everything. I always pay for some dinners, etc. when we go places. Another edit, because this seems to be misunderstood. I am financially independent because there is literally no one or nothing else for me to rely on than myself. My savings is all I have for now and the future anything that might happen, so yes, I think a lot before spending money. It's not about being cheap, it's about deep insecurity. I might still be wrong here, but I'm not being cheap for the sake of being cheap. Comment 1. YTA. The trip together you are taking is not the flight. People often sit apart on flights for many reasons. He is leaving the decision up to you on what you want to pay for, as it is implied you can afford either, but it's your decision to not spend on the flight. You are not entitled to count his money. Comment 2. I don't know what to think here other than I find it kind of odd for a couple to plan a trip together and not come up with a shared budget and agree on the travel arrangements and accommodations. Are you going to eat at different restaurants the whole time, go to different tourist attractions, etc.? I don't know what the answer is here for you too, but this type of arrangement does not seem enjoyable to me. Do you generally have very different opinions on how to spend money? Money is such a huge pain point for so many couples and will cause a lot of problems in the future if you always have such different money habits. Comment 3. If you really want a true opinion about the situation, then pay attention to the comments. You're too close to the situation and know too many details that make it easy for you to justify/argue this or that point. We, the internet, can only judge off of what you tell us, and your relationship sounds odd. Perhaps it's time to evaluate your expectations, and his as well, for the relationship and figure out if y'all are still compatible. My 36M ex-wife took off when our son, 9, was 5. She pays child support, but she hasn't seen him since he was 6. The only other female role model he had in his life was my mom, but she passed away last year. All the family my son and I have is my dad, my brother and a few close friends of mine, that are also guys. I do try to make sure he has other women in his life, whether it be his friends' moms or his dance teacher. However, he doesn't have anyone close enough to take on that aunt-type role, which hasn't been an issue until now. I always tell his teachers every year that I'm a single dad and he doesn't have a mom. Not to keep him out of activities, but just so they're aware of our situation. His teacher this year is very well-meaning, but there have been other instances where she tries to help and is overstepping boundaries. We managed to smooth those over without the involvement of admin. Usually, around Mother's Day, my son will make a craft for me. We don't celebrate the holiday, per his wish, but he knows the school will have him make one. And again, in years past, it's never been an issue. The teachers understand and are fine with him doing whatever for me. He came to me last week, a little upset. It was time to make the Mother's Day crafts. He isn't the only one in his class without a mom, but the other kids were making them for close female figures like aunts, grandmothers, etc. When my son started making one for me, the teacher told him he should make one for a female figure in his life. He said he doesn't have anyone close enough. She kept insisting and ultimately said that it's not Father's Day, the day is not for me, and he needed to make something. He reluctantly made something for his dance teacher, but I could tell he felt really uncomfortable about giving it to her because they don't have that relationship. I emailed the teacher and said I found this inappropriate. He wasn't trying to get out of the assignment, so why does it matter who he made it for? She got super defensive and said that by him not making it for a woman in his life, he was getting out of the assignment. She added she's sure the dance teacher will appreciate it. I ended up moving this up to admin, saying I don't want her to get in trouble, but I feel she needs to be spoken to about sensitivity and inclusion, as well as forwarding the emails where she brushed off my concerns. The principal apologized to me and my son for the incident. My son says his teacher apologized to him. Teacher and I haven't spoken further. My brother feels there was no need to move it up the chain over something so trivial. Especially as the school year is almost over, so he won't be my son's teacher for much longer. Was I wrong for how I handled this? Comment 1. NTA. Your brother seems to be confused. This was not in any way a trivial issue. This was a teacher acting in a discriminatory and insensitive way towards your son, and claiming that there was some sort of educational reason why her actions were appropriate. You absolutely did the correct thing by first trying to discuss it with the teacher, and only escalating it once the teacher refused to listen to your legitimate concerns. Comment 2. NTA. The teacher is too focused on minutiae if they are defining the assignment as making a craft specifically and only for a female person. They apparently realize it too, given the apology to your son. Brother is wrong that this was trivial. Kid told the teacher, more than once, that there was an issue, one the teacher presumably was already aware of, and it was totally disrespectful of the teacher to pressure him over it. And disrespectful to blow off your concerns afterward. Comment 3. NTA. IDK. What is going on in that teacher's head, but she needs to get back in her lane. Her forcing your son to make a gift for someone he doesn't want to, especially when he already had someone more appropriate in mind, is weirdly controlling. Running it up to admin was the right way to go, especially as she doesn't seem to know how to handle being challenged in any way by a parent. You've mentioned that this isn't the first time she overstepped, so it was especially important to get a higher-up involved once it was clear she wasn't taking you seriously. My husband, 42M, and I, 35F, had a son last year, so this is my first Mother's Day. We both work remotely. In April he was on a business trip for a few weeks, while I held down the fort, working remotely while taking care of baby. He's not the kind of person to really care about holidays, so 2 weeks ago, a few days after he got home, I told him I cared about Mother's Day and what I wanted for Mother's Day, a couple small things including pictures, a new thermos, and to do something together as a family. We've had a busy couple of weeks with him settling back in. He does look after baby a lot, but I take bedtime and nighttime duty, and also do a lot during the day. We both cook a lot, and we both do a lot of the chores. Today, Mother's Day, I woke up early to feed the baby. My husband was a little awake, so I asked him if I should expect anything for Mother's Day and if he got anything ready. This is because I honestly would prefer to know so I'm not disappointed. He told me when would I have the chance? And started getting upset. On the one hand, I don't want him feeling bad, but on the other hand he has had 2 whole weeks to do something, and he could have told me he needed to spend more time out and I would have looked after baby while he did Mother's Day errands. He got really upset with me and told me that he never had time. I asked him if we could come back to this conversation later, and that I was sure we would do something for Mother's Day. But I don't know if my tone wasn't right, but he got very upset and said that I was abusive, because I was always doing things like this and making him feel really bad. I apologized and said I never want to hurt his feelings, but he scoffed at that and asked if he should expect this for the rest of his life. Then I asked him to step out of the room to calm down while I got the baby back to sleep. After some more back and forth he did, and I'm sitting here writing this now. I honestly try to be reasonable and listen really carefully to what people I love say, but I feel like I'm crazy right now. AOTA for asking my husband whether he got anything ready for Mother's Day first thing in the morning, and for pointing out that he had 2 weeks and was out multiple times in that period. Comment 1. NTA. His excuse of not having time is weak. He could literally tell you that you will have a special day today and then fucking wing it, pack a cute picnic for the fam, take the baby out to get gifts while you nap or just have personal time, etc., and it would still be better than nothing. You literally gave him a heads up that you wanted to do Mother's Day, even fed him gift ideas. He could have fucking gone on Amazon right then on his phone and ordered a thermos. This does not have to be a time-consuming planning process to make you feel special and appreciated on Mother's Day. And his response to you asking sucked. The only person he should be upset with is himself, and his anger is a problem. Comment 2. Father's Day is coming up. You are just as busy as he is. Take your cue from his behavior and act accordingly when Father's Day arrives. Passive-aggressive? Probably. Fair? Absolutely. Comment 3. I ordered my mother-in-law's gift Friday on Amazon. It took 15 minutes to find a gift. I had no clue what to buy, so I generically searched for Mother's Day gifts and order. Same-day delivery. Boom. Done. This no-time excuse is exactly that, an excuse. Don't let him gaslight you. About 2 weeks ago was my brother-in-law's wedding, and they were very clear that it was a formal event and they wanted everyone dressed nicely. My mill told me that the dress I planned to wear wasn't formal enough and offered to buy me one that would fit the occasion better, since I don't exactly have the money to buy myself a fancy dress right now. Let me be clear that I love my mill and I was very grateful for her offer. I sent her a link to a dress that I liked and she agreed to order it and have it shipped to me. The dress came the other day and it's not the one I asked for. It's nice, but it's not what I wanted. It's a completely different cut and color from what I asked her to get. Even though it's a nice dress, I hated the way it looked on me, so I just wore the dress I was originally planning to wear. It didn't perfectly fit the dress code, but I figured it was close enough. Apparently not, because the moment my mill saw me she was asking why I wore it instead of the dress she bought me. She was very upset at me for not wearing the other dress, considering she paid for it, which I understand, but it still wasn't what I asked for. When I told her it was the wrong dress, she said that she ordered a different one on purpose because she thought it would fit me better. Which it didn't, because it looked awful on me. She also said the one I sent her was a bit pricey, but she's not exactly living paycheck to paycheck, she has the money for it. She let it go after a while, but I'm starting to feel bad for it. I wasted her money, and looking back, what I wore did stick out a bit. Nobody has mentioned it since, but I'm still wondering. Comment 1, ESH, lack of communication. Her more than you. She agreed to order you the dress you wanted. Without telling you and seeking your approval, she ordered a different one. Bad move, she should have coordinated with you before ordering. You wore a dress that had been specifically disapproved. Obviously a bad move. You should have called and told her the dress she got you was unusable. Then, you should have given her the choice of exchange the dress, wear your original dress, or skip the wedding. Also, she's not exactly living paycheck to paycheck is not a good excuse to overspend, but she should have objected at the time. Comment 2. I'm getting the feeling that you don't dress appropriately. You acknowledged that the dress you wore wasn't appropriate and your mill actually went as far as to pay for a dress for you. Was she trying to tell you the dress you picked out was also inappropriate? She wasn't right to just change the dress and leave you no time to exchange it, but I'm kinda getting the feeling that she was trying to help you dress appropriately. Comment 3. YTA, there were other ways to get an appropriate dress other than expect someone else to pay for it. Thrift shops, second-hand stores, borrow from a friend. Amazon has some great formal dresses. Instead you wanted someone else to pay for it. Mill was also an R for ordering a different dress, but as an adult, it was ultimately your responsibility to dress appropriately.